King Charles gets heckled in Australia, and Christopher Anderson breaks down why this trip was a risk.
It's risky, I think, for him to be doing this, and I think Camilla, you can see the expression on her face that I doubt very much if she wanted him to undertake such an arduous trip.
Plus, Sarah Ferguson joins TikTok. Diddy invited the royal boys to parties, and Prince Harry is set to buy a house in Portugal. And the royals are just like us, they sleep with their dogs. We've got that plus so much more on today's Royally Us. Hey everyone, I'm Christina, and that's Christine, and welcome to Royally Us. How you doing, Christine?
I'm doing so well. We've got so many diverse stories this week. I'm excited to get into it.
Yes, so let's get right into it. As we know, the King and Queen visited Sydney Opera House and will be seen on the Man o' War steps, the historic jetty near the Opera House. They are, of course, in Australia as they review the Royal Australian Navy Fleet and Defence Force flyover. While their public engagements are more limited than normal, the King is undertaking private engagements as well. They rounded out their time in Sydney at a community barbecue celebrating Australia's cultural diversity and will meet with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander representatives to learn more about communities that live in Australia. And they departed for Samoa on October 23rd. However, this trip was met with a heckler. After he finished his speech, an Australian senator shouted, "You're not my king." So what did you make of this Australian visit?
I think it's really overwhelmingly been a success. If you look at the crowds of people, I think even the Australians were surprised by how many people came out to see the king, to meet the king and queen, just to sort of be there for such a historic visit. And I think overwhelmingly it's been positive. The king launched the King's Foundation in Australia. The queen did some work with her reading room. But these stories, like the senator in Parliament, speaking out after his speech, that's really what's making headlines. There's been some discourse here and there, but I think even these sort of anti-monarchist demonstrations weren't as popular as they kind of hoped. There's like one or two people showing up, whereas when you look at the crowds of people lining up on walkabouts, but even just to see them passing by, it's been overwhelming.
It really has. Yeah, no, I think like despite, the moment that is making the headlines, it was probably an overwhelming success. But we wanted to break down even more what this Australian trip meant and why it was a little bit of a risk, according to Christopher Anderson. So, let's break down the royal rules. Take a look. How do you feel people are reacting to King Charles's Australian trip? Obviously, we saw somebody heckling him after his speech, "You're not my king." How do you feel like the world kind of views King Charles now?
Wasn't it? I mean, one of the reasons the king did embarked on this tour, and believe me, he's not. It's risky, I think, for him to be doing this. And I think Camilla, you can see the expression on her face that I doubt very much if she wanted him to undertake such an arduous trip. But he is a great believer in the Commonwealth. It's what's left of the British Empire, and it's always been his baby. And he, looking forward to becoming king. For him, was looking forward to becoming head of the Commonwealth. He wants to hold it together. There are, Republican anti-monarchist factions in many of the countries that belong to the Commonwealth now. The Queen Elizabeth, who was a beloved figure, is gone. So Charles will never be the Queen. He will never have that. They will have that kind of historic connection to him. The love that they had for Queen Elizabeth. But he's doing his best to go out there and sell himself. So I'm not surprised that he was heckled because Australia is one of those places that does have a fairly strong Republican movement, and a lot of people there don't want the British monarch to be their monarch anymore. It's very
Mm. Did you mean that it was risky just because of health issues?
Oh, I'm in health. Yes, I don't think there's any.
Yeah,
I worry about security. No, but I think the
right.
health because he's looking. If you take a close look at him, I think he's still got an uphill battle. This is a severe, serious health battle. We don't know the details. We were never given the details, unfortunately, for
Mm,
either Kate or the king. I think that's always been a mistake because that leads to all
mm,
sorts of online conspiracy theories and gossip and
yeah.
rumor mongering. And I think it would help them if they just came right out and said what the situation was and where he stood in this cancer battle. So all we can do is guess. But he looks a little
Mm,
tired. He looks a little gray and a little drained, and it
yeah.
can't be helping to, you know, go halfway around the world and meet and greet for endless hours.
I mean, he basically says it was a risk because, he still is undergoing cancer treatment. It is a health risk. And as we know, Queen Camilla keeps telling him to slow down, but he is full steam ahead.
But he absolutely refuses. He just wants to keep going.
Yeah, no, just wants to keep going. All right, well, let's spill the royal tea. And Sarah Ferguson has joined TikTok, and she did so by sharing an emotional video in which she reflected on being diagnosed with breast cancer. Take a look.
And it's very interesting for me not to speak. I couldn't express myself. I just shut down. I went back into the little girl. It was easier not to ask for support, just to deal with it, because that's what I'm used to. That's what I can do. That's what I was taught. And it's certainly now, I'm really proud of my scars.
We've said it time and time again. We love that she is using all of these different platforms to spread her message, get it across, and reach out to other cancer survivors, people that are going through cancer, and telling them that they're not alone.
Hugely underrated member of the royal family. I don't think we ever could have anticipated how wonderful she would be in this era, but I'm just so happy that she is sort of doing, using her platform for good.
Yeah, definitely. It's really wonderful. And welcome to TikTok. Didn't think that we would have this headline, but here we go. Prince William and Prince Harry might have received party invites from Sean Diddy Combs, but the royal siblings never attended any of his notorious events. His former rep, Rob Shooter, said in an interview with BBC News, Diddy was obsessed with Prince Harry and Prince William. He thinks of himself as a king, so it makes perfect sense that he would like to have two princes in his entourage. Shooter said that the pair never accepted Diddy's offers to join him at one of the rapper's parties. He claimed that Diddy asked him to call the royals more than 10 times to invite them. He added that Diddy even offered to cover the cost of the royals' travels, lodging, and security. He added they never accepted the invites. They were never part of his world. Definitely for the best. We did reach out to both William and Harry for comment, but I'm sure they're a little too busy to think about what the problems that Diddy is now facing.
I mean, this is such a bizarre story, but it really reminds us of that time when William and Harry were younger and they were like the it guys, they were like the world's most eligible bachelors. They were in and out of clubs. They were young and hip and cool. Like now they're old men doing their charity work.
Right.
We love them for that. We love them in every stage. But back then, they were these really, really popular. They were party boys, probably not these kinds of parties. But no, definitely not. But it's fun to sort of remember them when they were sort of young and wild.
Right, in high demand, but at least they had somebody in their corner being like, yeah, you maybe want to sit this one out.
Someone was like, you're not doing that. No.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. Good choices. All right, well, speaking of Prince Harry, he can check off surfing off his California bucket list after taking a world-class lesson from pros Kelly Slater and Romana Van Bastelier. Sorry if I messed that up. I loved this video. I don't know if you saw it, but he's doing pretty well.
It's so much fun. They're sort of, it's like a once in a lifetime surf lesson. I don't know, maybe he's made friends with these guys. Now they'll go out all the time, but it was such a cool video to see him. It's back to sort of that fun, down to earth, charming Harry. He's very much himself, having fun out on the water. And yeah, it's nice to see these lately we've been seeing a little bit more of like the Harry that we used to love, who was just sort of playful and fun, and not so much, what we've been seeing lately that we don't really like. I just loved seeing him in the water with these really iconic surfers. It was such a fun video.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be practicing his surfing for his trips to Portugal, I would imagine, because they got those 100-foot waves. Because it's been reported that he and Meghan have possibly purchased a home in Portugal. Is one of the 300 soon-to-be constructed residences at the 722-acre Costa Terra Golf and Ocean Club, a lavish development near the small town of Melidus, about 81 miles south of Lisbon. The couple are said to have paid over $4.7 million on the purchase of their home. This is according to the Mirror. A lot of people have mixed opinions about this, that they're purchasing a home in Portugal, but, it's their money. They can do what they want with it.
They visited Portugal a few times. We know they stayed with Eugenie at one point. It is a really, really popular, beautiful place. And I think maybe they do have one or two friends there, or sort of they're familiar with the area. It's definitely known for really wealthy, high-profile families, so they might feel it's safe there. Lots of criticism that they'll go to Portugal, they'll buy a house in Portugal, but they'll never step foot in the UK, which is still so close. You know, they're not too far away. But I think, I mean, I guess if you're going to have a beach house, I mean, they live in they live in Montecito. It's not exactly far from the beach, but I guess they need a second beach.
You got to get a beach house all over the world.
Why not? Why not? If you
Why
can,
not?
why
Must
not?
be nice. All right. Well, Charles Spencer has been in the news. He, of course, is the brother of Princess Diana. And he said that he visits his sister's grave at the Spencer family ancestral home of Althorp nearly every single day. He revealed this during an episode of Good Morning Britain back on October 15th. He said, and of course, she's buried at home. Yes, she is. And I go pretty much every day. Last week, one of her closest childhood friends came and was on the island, and that was so nice. There was at one point a bridge that connected the island to the rest of the estate, but it was removed to protect the family's privacy. That was actually divulged by Prince Harry, who wrote about it in his memoir, Spare. So it's, you know, I'm sure, you know, all these years later, the pain is, I'm sure, still there. And it's nice that he, you know, takes time out to visit her every single day.
Definitely, and it's very moving, but it's almost sort of sad and macabre in a way, because I visited Althorp last summer, and there's almost nowhere else to go. You're almost drawn to the island and to the memorial, and it almost feels like the whole property is you know, literally centered around it in a strange way. So anytime Charles is sort of going for a little walk after breakfast or after lunch, there's almost nowhere else to go. And I think that that probably keeps her connection with her family very much alive, and they're able to sort of, you know, spend that time with her daily. But at the same time, I think thinking about that level of grief, it must be hard to never be able to get away from it.
And he's also been in the news lately because of his personal life, because he confirmed his relationship with Dr. Cat Jarmin amid her reported lawsuit against his estranged wife, Countess Karen Spencer. This has just gotten a little kind of messy, but she is a Norwegian archaeologist, and he confirmed their relationship during that same Good Morning Britain interview, following reports that she filed litigation against his ex-wife. She filed this against alleging misuse of private information. So he said on the program, Cat Jarmin, who is my partner now actually, but she's a brilliant archaeologist. It sounds like an Alan Patridge title, but she is Nordic Person of 2024, which is usually handed out to someone like a composer or something like that. So it seems like they are full steam ahead. It is interesting that she's filing this lawsuit against his ex-wife, though.
I mean, definitely messy. It definitely brings a lot of questions to the surface, I think. And it's always nice if they can sort of deal with this behind closed doors, but obviously because of what a high profile Charles Spencer has, that's impossible. And the media is just too excited for this sort of juicy soap opera-y drama.
Seriously, it is playing out like a soap opera drama. All right, well, let's wrap it up with some fun news. In this week's Royals Are Just Like Us, Prince William and Princess Kate really are just like us. They're devoted pet owners. While allowing faithful four-legged companions to sleep in the bed is often a hot-button debate topic, William and Kate just proved we're not alone in letting it happen. During an October 17th appearance in Cornwall, William visited with a local and her pet. The attendee later offered insight into their conversation at the walkabout during an appearance on Hits Radio Cornwall. She told the outlet, per Hello Magazine, William said that his little dog sleeps on the bed with them at night with him and Kate. The Prince and Princess of Wales share 3 kids, of course, and proud puppy parents to Cocker Spaniel Orla. Kate's brother James Middleton gifted them the dog back in 2021, 1 year after their beloved pet Lupo died. So it's nice, you know, always got to make room for the dogs.
Oh, I love this. You know, my husband doesn't like dogs on the bed, and he's always sort of said, you know, they don't allow that at Buckingham Palace. And so when I saw this story, I showed it to him, and I was like, look, can we bring him upstairs now? And unfortunately, there's no dogs in our house, but I'm so glad that William and Kate get those really lovely cuddles.
Oh, definitely. It's got to be the best feeling. I love it so much. All right. Well, that is it for this week's episode of Royally Us. Like you said, a lot of diverse stories this week. So I think we hit it all.
Yeah, I think we've gone really like from Diddy to dogs, everything in between.
Everything in between. We have something for everyone. All right. Well, that is it for this week's episode of Royally Us. Keep commenting, keep subscribing, and we'll see you next week.